Because it's back in the building today on Rise and Shine College Football. Let's get after it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Rise and Shine College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, here with my co-host for the day, because Marcus Dent.
Man,
If
what's
you love
up with
college
it? What's
football,
up with it?
if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss a moment of Hall of Fame college football. Because welcome back to the show, man. Good to see you.
Man, good to be back, man. Good to be back, brother. For sure.
You know, it hadn't been that long since you've been on, but hell, lots of stuff has happened since the last time you came on the show.
Yeah.
So good to see you back in here. What up, pimp? Sizzle, Steven Tiger. Crucifix Autumn, welcome in. True Okie. Make sure you guys are hit that like button on your way in. Share the stream. Lots of stuff to talk about this morning. We're going to get into, um, you know, well, there's lots of stuff. First off, we're going to kind of preview a new show that we're going to be doing together, Marcus and I. Uh, it's an SEC show called the SEC Gauntlet. We're going to talk a little bit about our first show that we'll be recording tonight, and one of the items that we'll be talking about on that show, which is the question of whether or not the SEC has been passed up as the best conference in the country by the Big Ten. But also wanted to I'm glad to have him in here because Isaiah Dent, his son, has moved on. As we knew, he got into the transfer portal on the first day that it opened. He has landed in a new spot in the SEC with Mississippi State and former offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby, along with former assistant offensive line coach Big. Uh, oh, what's our guy?
Phil Longhope, baby.
Yeah. Big Phil Loadholt. Excited about that opportunity for Isaiah. But I know we talked a lot during this whole thing, and there was a big market for Big Zay, man. There was a lot of people that wanted to get his services and
Yeah,
just
man.
wanted to, talk about how that was going back through the recruiting process again.
Well, man, going back through the whole thing was kind of crazy. And it was a little slow at first because, he didn't have a whole lot of film. He had the main film. Last year he was hurt, 90% of the season.
Right.
But man, once they got to watching the film and some of the stuff that I had put on YouTube and other different things, man, things started coming in. Right late. I mean, the last one that came in that I didn't even post was Miami. So I didn't even post that. We had already signed, and their people contacted us and say, "Hey, look, man, we think this kid still got a lot of space." You know, um, and I didn't know this. I mean, you see your kid all the time, but man, Isaiah came in at 6'8", 330 everywhere he went. And his
Woo.
measurables was crazy, man, like 85 to, you know, on the length and everything. And um he's a big boy, man, so
Yeah.
and I'm gonna say this through this whole process, Big Bill was right there with us through the whole
Mhm.
process. I talked to Bill several times. He understood the move, and I'm gonna keep it transparent. Um, Isaiah and Bill has a great relationship. Um, him not being able to come back from the injuries put him behind the eight ball, if you would say, with two true freshmen coming in, and it's just business. It's just way it is. You know, there was no certain that he was going to move Ryan back in the guard because you just didn't know how that was going to look, who you was going to get in the portal. So, we just made a business
Right.
decision, man, that we had to we had to move on. And being close to home means a lot, man. We're an hour away from the house. Um, he's 15 minutes from my original home, Columbus. So I mean, it
Okay.
makes it a lot easier on mom. Yeah, it makes it a lot easier on mom. And here's the thing, guys. This is really our third move because we was at Ole Miss with them. You know,
Mhm.
got to realize Lev gave him his first offer, and then they went to Oklahoma, and they offered him when he got to Oklahoma. Then that's when we kind of got in touch with Bill and Phil, and I was looking forward to that situation. And then now they're at Mississippi State. So it made it a lot easier when Coach Lev picked up the phone and gave me that phone call. It just made it a lot easier to come. It was a lot of other places, man. But I'm gonna tell you this: this is one place, and me and you talked about it. They're not a really big program, but they're going to the Pac-12. That really, really impressed me, and that was Texas State. I think
Yeah.
that coach, he is Kenny is going to be a
DJ
big time
Kenny.
coach. He's going to
DJ
be a
Kenny. Yeah.
Yep, he's gonna be a big time coach, man. Um, they got a really good program over there. But I say Vanderbilt came in late, Memphis offered. We had several offers, man. It was just Florida talked to us. Um, it was just Virginia, West Virginia. They talked to us a little bit, wasn't much with them. Um, but I mean, he had several offers, man, and that's just a blessing. Coming from I guess the pedigree of Bill, and just look at everybody who left. Everybody went to a P4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody that left the program went to a P4 and did
That's
well,
not what
man.
you've
So
seen over the past few years of the guys that were left or like some of the guys that were early entries, guys that they got in the first year or two. You hadn't seen that all the time. But
right,
everybody in this one has been absolutely Power 4 guys.
yep,
I think it was clear, but I know that Texas State was I know I got kind of interrupted there, but Texas State
yeah,
was one of the ones that when we first talked, you were talking about how, man, we might do that. They
man,
had
yeah.
him in
It was a great opportunity for him to come in and be a plug and play.
yeah,
That was one thing. At Mississippi State, they do not have anybody that has made any significant snaps at right tackle.
yeah.
So we was looking at almost the same situation. Same thing with Southern Miss, man. Southern Miss, I told Isaiah, I thought we was gonna have to call somebody to get us up out of there, man. They didn't want us to leave, especially after Isaiah did the presentation, of the plays and everything like that, So I mean, it was a great experience, man, but tiring. Glad it's over with. Now we're looking for apartments and all that kind of stuff. Um, he just got off the phone with what's the other kid, the receiver that left
Oh,
OU and went to Mississippi State.
oh yeah. Uh,
Is it
Brennan
no
Thompson.
Ragans? I think it's Ragans, ain't it?
Oh, Zion. Oh, you just. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
now,
yeah,
Zion
yeah,
Reagan. Zion
yeah.
Reagan's.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so he's there. Kendra Dobie's there. So I mean, he got some familiar faces in the room, and then thing about it is Mississippi. So a lot of these kids from Mississippi, man, he has his teammate Isaac Smith, All American. He's there. They play high school football together. So man, I think the marriage is going to be really good. Um, just coming in, being at home, being able to do a few things. We're grateful for the Sooner Nation and the people how they treated us. They treated us with nothing but respect. My whole tailgate crew there, man, they gonna come up the Mississippi State game and we're gonna kick it again. So it's just one of those things, man. It's life. Is what it is.
yeah,
You have to assess where you're at, and then sometimes you have to pivot. And like I
right.
say, man, that's what we are, man. Hats off to the Sooner Nation, man. They done us well, while we were there, man, and we appreciate that as a family.
Mhm. For the comment section, guys, I'm not seeing it the way you're seeing it live there, but so uh, definitely I'm looking in at the live stream and being able to kind of look at it there. But But they were asking, and Kobe asked, he's a Texas guy, did Texas offer? And I know that you were, I said they did. They got
Yeah,
on the phone and you guys had
yeah.
a
They
chat with them.
call. One of their guys called, man, but we knew that wasn't going down, bro. That wasn't going down, man. So we really didn't entertain it, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Really didn't entertain it because, like I say, man, him coming from Oklahoma, going to Texas, and that you still far away. To be honest with you, we would have went to Texas State before we went to Texas. Um, and
Wow.
just because of the staff that they have there, they will not be there long. I don't think there's maybe one or two coaches on that staff that's over 40 years old. They're young, they're energetic, and
They're
they know
killing it,
what they.
man. And guys have been leaving his staff and getting better gigs for a while now. As
Yeah,
far GJ's
yeah,
doing a great job.
yeah.
But, if you look at Eric Morris that's at Oklahoma State was on his staff there
Mhm.
whenever he was at Incarnate Word.
Yes,
So, and then he ended up at Washington State as well. You know what I mean? So that's
yeah,
where, you've seen kind of this maturation of guys that work with GJ. And GJ himself, I mean, he's been a head coach the whole way, but it
yeah.
looks like to me, I think he's kind of waiting on that job. Like they beat Baylor a few years ago. I'm surprised they haven't already got rid of
I think
Baylor
that's the
Randall.
next stop. I
I
think
think
if
it is
Baylor
too.
doesn't do what they're supposed to do this year, I
Yeah.
think GJ is going to be the answer for them
Yeah.
because the offensive line coach been with him for 8 years, and the cat's only 37 years old, man.
No, I know he played some time in the league. He had
Yeah, he
some
was
time
up on a
with the
chip, I
Eagles.
think, for a little while.
Yeah, he played for Chip for the Eagles. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And he
So
was good. He got an
oh man,
opportunity
he
to
can
play
hit. I'm
last
gonna
year.
tell
He
you
was pretty
this:
good.
he could hit a damn golf ball 300 plus.
Oh, yeah,
Man,
dude.
we
He's
went
an
to
athlete,
top
bro.
golf with him, man, and good gracious, he can nail that damn golf ball, man.
Well, when he played at Tulsa, and
Oh yeah,
man,
it was a dude at Tulsa.
the dude could ball.
Yeah,
I mean, you know how it is. If you're a
he,
quarterback at them smaller, SCS type, and at that time they may have been still I don't know if they were FBS at that point or not.
come on,
But
Tulsa.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
they were FBS.
yeah, but I mean, it's a small one of them schools that, not a whole lot of dudes are going to the league, particularly quarterbacks. And he was able to get out there and he balled out, man. That was, of
Yeah, he
course,
went to the
I
league.
think he was with Norvell and those guys at that point.
He was.
Um,
He was with Novell.
mhm.
Yeah, he was with
And so,
Novell. He just got. He got a. I'm looking at what they're doing, even with the GM. The GM, man, cool cat, man, Coach O. They come from a put it like this. He put the GM that's there now. He just got there. He put together the roster at North Texas.
mhm.
That's a pretty damn good roster.
It is. It is.
And I think Texas State had 45,000 students.
Yeah, Texas State's it's a big school. And
And
people don't
so,
realize that San Marcos is like that, but what a cool area too. It's a
oh
really
yeah,
cool
yeah, yeah,
spot,
yeah. That's
right?
why I said, man, it was one of those things that was like, man, do you go back home? Do you stay out here? And I'm gonna be
Mhm.
honest with your mom was kind of tired of that drive. So, you
It's a
know,
trek, bro, it's a
yeah,
trek.
man,
I
it was
made that
even
drive.
it was farther than Norman. It was like 11 hours.
Right,
So you
right.
was adding another three onto it, man, and that
Yeah,
was
dude, even Norman, though, that's a trek too. It was
yeah,
a trek
it's
for you
8 hours,
guys. I know
man. That's
because
eight hours.
whenever I came back from the Bama game and went straight there, I was like, "Son of a bitch,"
Yeah,
you know?
it's a haul, man, and
Mhm.
and 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 just getting a chance to man reconnect with Phil. Phil was shocked when he saw him because Isaiah done put on a lot of weight and a couple of inches since he seen him. So, um, yeah, they were shocked, to see how much he had developed, and everything. And of course, they wanted to know about the knee and everything. So the knee is good, man. Of course, he's going to get checked out again while he's there. But the knee is good, and that's one thing that me and my wife, um, we played it safe. We wanted to make sure that everything was copacetic with his knee. Um, Even talking to talking to Coach B and Bo, he understood exactly when we got the second opinion, and we did have to get a second opinion. So, that's one thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about at OU. But I can tell you right now, the medical staff needs to get better. Um,
Mhm.
the trainers in house are really good.
Yeah.
It's the outsource that's not good.
Mhm.
And that's my opinion. I don't give a damn what nobody else say. Um, that's something I think they need to get fixed, and I think that's beyond Brent Venables' control because I feel like no head coach will want as many injuries as they have had and
Well, and
not get back on the field. It just doesn't make sense to me.
it's automatically set up for the head coach to not have any control over that stuff, and rightfully so. You've
Yeah,
gotta have separation between the coaching staff and the medical facility or the medical teams and stuff,
yeah,
because if not, then it's a conflict of interest because the coach wants a player out there, and if he's got the ability to, like,
yeah.
make decisions on, on the line medical stuff, or, whatever, then it's not a good thing for either side.
No,
So, you can't it's hard to blame Venables when it comes to that kind of stuff because he doesn't have any control over it. And
he
right,
does
and
not.
I mean, it's set up that way for a reason, right?
Mhm. And when I talked to Coach B, in May last year when Isaiah had to have the injections, and just go ahead on and not just taking it into our own hands. Coach B, he didn't tell me no. He
Mhm.
told me do what's best for your son.
Right.
So because I know he has a line that he can't cross or things that he can't say. So, you have to read between the lines when you're talking to somebody. You
Sure.
understand what I'm saying? Because we had talked to Coach B before the season. He was fired up. He was ready to go. And then, man, boom, he took that helmet to the knee, and that was a setback, man, for like 7, 8 weeks. So a lot of
Right.
people, they want to know what happened to Isaiah, whatever. He only got a chance to practice 3 days during the spring. So that put him behind the eight ball. And then he come back in fall camp. The best ability is availability. And he didn't have availability. And I hear a lot of people, talk about these guys keep getting hurt. But why are these guys keep getting hurt? There's a reason why. And you better go do your homework because you don't just have that many injuries from the receivers to the offensive line for nothing.
Year
Something in
after
the
year,
milk
and
ain't
not just
clean.
a single year that has happened where you just
Yeah,
snake bit.
so
We're
you
talking
better
about
check.
multiple
You
years
better
now.
check. You better check the balance between medical staff, in-house trainers in the weight room. There's a balance that need to be married right there, and that's something. If OU gets that together, then they'll be in good shape. you
Right.
know, some of that stuff I don't know how much the head coach have control over. Um, he should have control over that weight room. I can tell you that. But
Yeah. Well,
the
I
medical
mean, you do
staff
have
part of
you
it,
have some control over your staff. You
yeah,
hire that guy. So,
yeah,
yeah.
right. But when it comes down to the medical part, um, I just think I don't think Brent has much control over that. I
Mhm.
think
He
if he
doesn't.
did, things would be a lot different. I think things would be a hell of a lot different. Now, don't get me wrong, Brandon is one he wants you to strain, he wants you to push through it, but there comes a time, man, when you can't push through it. You can't push through everything.
Right.
Um, some things have to take time to heal, and if you don't give those things time to heal, then hey, boom, you gonna have a bunch of injuries. But like I said, man, enough of that right now, man. But let's get on. Let's talk about the show, man, that we got coming up, bro.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
man.
Hey, man, appreciate the super chat, Neilio. I'm having a hard time getting the comments to populate there, but I appreciate your super chat there. He says, "Welcome back, Coach Dent."
Man,
Appreciate
appreciate it,
that,
bro.
man. I'll read off a couple of them to you because a lot of them are just wishing all you guys luck. But uh,
Yeah, I can see it on
Brandon
my.
State says, "Good morning, Hall of Famers. I'm late for class. What we got in the way of Wednesday morning priorities. Well, we're talking right now about Isaiah moving on to Mississippi State, back with Big Phil Loadholt, Coach Leb. It's it's kind of Oklahoma South down there a little bit, but and Benji, one of our resident Texas guys, says best of luck to your son down here.
Yeah, oh yeah, man.
On there,
Appreciate
coach.
everybody in the chat, man. I see you guys. Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it's good stuff as far as that goes. I'm glad to see everybody in here. Nick Anderson is back in the portal, leaving LSU. Oh shoot. Yeah, we'll get into some of that. But guys, and that's honestly, bringing up the show we're going to be doing. It's called the SEC Gauntlet. Actually, I could probably pull up the intro that I've been working on and stuff like that. But something we've kind of been going back and forth about this a little bit. But Marcus, you can talk a little bit about the new business that you got, because that's kind of what brought us to this point.
Man.
Ole Miss 365, you and your business partner. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, man. We started that, man, launching in the day after the portal opened, and we're branching out to different places, man. In it's no different from On3 site, just like with Brendan, what's his name?
Who are you talking about? The owner of On3?
No. I mean, we covered right now. We're covering Ole Miss football. Yeah. I do all the scouting. I produce a couple shows, and we're not stopping at Ole Miss. We're gonna right now. We're already working on Houston, working on a site for a different company. So we're just like 24/7 Sports. We just started our own brand.
On3 24/7 Rivals, and all that's kind of going into one brand. Now.
So we'll be going out to different colleges. We just so happen to start at Ole Miss, just like 24/7 started at Alabama. So it's no different from that, man. Giving you day-to-day updates, portal news, basketball, football. I do a show with Coach Q, the assistant head basketball coach, called Q's Court. I created a couple of different podcasts, and the podcast me and you do will be also ran on the show as well. I mean, ran on the site as well. So it's kind of the similar, same thing as On3. We're just small. We hope to get that big one day, but we're taking it step by step, college by college. So man, that's what we're pushing right now. Hopefully, we'll have a 365 OU.
No doubt. No doubt. So, and I'll go ahead and we can pop up this. We'll do this quick intro real quick and just kind of show everybody what we're doing. But just to let you know, is like what the show is going to be itself is, it's going to be a twice a week show. One of them is kind of going to serve as a recap of what happened once the season gets started, a recap of what happened during the week. And then on Thursdays we'll be releasing a show that kind of previews the next week along with news. And I'm going to be traveling for a week to week during the season. I'll be traveling to all the SEC Game of the Week spots. So wherever the spot is that we think is the best game of that week, I'm gonna be there in the mobile studio here. So we plan on doing a lot of different content out of that, but to start with, we've got some cool stuff that we're going to be doing. But let me just show you. I'm going to go ahead and play that real quick.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Pretty cool, man. Have a
Yeah,
good
man,
blow
I've been
out the
working on
water,
that for a
bro.
few days, man. Been working on that for a few days, but excited about it. I'm excited about it, man. It's uh, back to my sports writer days. All these years that I've been doing it, you just you get used to not really being attached to any one program or anything like that, or maybe you are, and even when you are, it's more of a well, I mean, I was covering Texas Tech for a long time, so I mean, obviously it wasn't my school, but it being able to get out there and get back into it like that and do some more writing and things like that, I think that's something I'm looking forward to as well. I don't know if that's gonna be obviously working with you guys a whole lot on that end of it, but the options are there, I think,
Oh
and
yeah, definitely the options are there, man. Options are there, and that's something that we want to be able to give a complete show. There's a lot of shows out there, and we understand, but everybody got a different twist, and I think we'll have a different twist on the insight of what's going on in college football because we live it, we sleep, we breathe it every day. I got an athlete that's played, so I know the insides of what goes on inside of these locker rooms. So I mean, I think we'll be able to bring to the people something different for sure than what some of these other shows bring. So, and we got a great platform for it to be on it at 365, man. So, that's something that's going to boom here. Like I said, we're working on one right now in Texas. So hopefully this summer we'll have that site up as well, man. So we're gonna go all over the country
yeah,
doing it. We got a lot of interest right now, and people. One show I created, I was telling you about it this morning. Got over 34,000 views, man. So
that's
uh,
badass, bro.
yeah,
That's
so we're
badass.
working on a lot, man. And I've been working on this for like damn near 2 years.
I was gonna say this has been a long time project for you
Yeah,
guys. This is
yeah.
something
So
y'all been
man,
going at. And talk about you and your business partner and what I mean, he's obviously, 24/7. He's been there with Ole Miss for a long
oh
time.
yeah, man. He started with Shannon Terry, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, before Shannon Terry really made a dime.
Right.
Him and
Right.
Shannon was cool, and he was there, and he stayed there a little bit too long. Shannon tried to bring him along with him, and he liked the 24/7 brand at the time until CBS bought him, and then when it became corporate, everything kind of went east, west, south, however you want to say it, and it got to a time where everything is corporate. They want to hire younger guys that don't want to work because they can
Yeah.
pay them $40,000 a year, and you don't want to pay the guys like, man, like the day we lunch, and you remember it. The day we lunch, we didn't go to bed till 5 o'clock that morning. Dave was up writing
I was talking to
stories.
you I'll talk to you later on that day.
Man, he was writing stories, and man, and we had to put content out. We had to build a staff. I mean, it was we had to build a sales staff and all this kind of different stuff, man. That I was helping him with, man. It was like, bro, I'm like, he's done it before. He started that site at Ole Miss, the
Yeah.
24/7 site at Ole Miss. So he's done it before, and that's just one thing that he had the experience doing it. My insight on player personnel and athletes, kind of help, go hand to hand, and our combine series as well. So all that stuff kind of go hand to hand, and just the experience with both of us, man, we shot out the gate. We got some writers that love to write. They're locally right here, right here. So it helps out a whole lot. They can go to a basketball game or football game. Um, and it was just putting together the staff, man, was kind of crazy
Yeah.
because I've never done anything like that before. Um, and
Yeah, putting together like an editorial staff and being able to do stuff
yeah,
like
man,
that, and
that
plus
stuff
with
is crazy,
obviously
man. Yeah,
doing
so
shows and stuff as well.
yeah, so man, like I say, it's always um, you know, people want to hear a different voice sometimes. And
Yeah.
of course, they've been hearing his voice for however many years, 20 something,
Sure.
20 plus years. But we're local. I mean, we don't have the big. how can I say this? We don't have the corporate way. Now you can't do that. We got to do this. You can't do that. We can do whatever we want to do. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
we're in good alliance with the coaches. Yeah, there. Matter of fact, Pete Golden, the head coach there now, Dave covered Pete when he was a 17-year-old at Delta State. He's been knowing Pete that long.
I forgot that he played at Delta State. That's right. I
Yeah,
forgot about that.
Dave graduated from Delta State.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
they're both of them are Delta State alums, man. So it's been good on that side for sure, man. But definitely, man, it's a great feeling to be able to put out content that you want to put out. Does not got to go through an editorial deal. Is something that's hot. You want to put your opinion out about it, you can do it, and that's the best thing about it. We can shift it out like all day long. So, and like I said, man, we're gonna look to start in different places, and hopefully one day, man, good Lord we'll have one in. We'll have OU one coming up soon. So, like I said, we're not on the big scale, but we're on a small scale, but we bring you a lot of information. And sometimes people want that, when
It'll get
they want
bigger.
the homegrown.
It
Yeah,
grows
they
as
want
it
the
grows,
homegrown,
man.
man.
And
So
that's just kind of like the rest of this content game, man. And it grows as it grows. And if you put stuff out there that people want to see, you're gonna end up with a larger audience. So I think it's gonna
yeah,
get big. And
yeah.
nothing is big. You know, I was thinking about the way that recruiting goes, bro. That shit blows up fast.
And it's all and see, here's the thing. It's all year round. It's not
Mhm.
a season for it. I
100%.
remember and what's crazy, and I'm gonna say this, I gotta go because I gotta get Isaiah to Starville.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
and the what's crazy about this whole entire thing, you remember when high school recruiting was the buzz? It's
Mhm.
not. It's the portal. The portal is the buzz.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be interesting to see when everything's shut down on the 16th because you still got a lot of kids haven't signed anywhere. And so, and I'm gonna give
Yep.
you this. I'm gonna give you this before I leave, Jason. So I was talking to a dad, and sometimes money come involved in this stuff. And I was like, well, what are you gonna do for the 16th if you guys don't sign? He said, well, we're just gonna take summer class. We're just gonna take classes online. I said,
Uh-huh.
huh? He said, I'm gonna take classes online until we find the right fit because the window is too short. I'm like, wow. I mean, of course, you have to pay for those classes, but yet and still, the kid does not have to come in the spring.
True.
A lot of people don't realize that. As long as you're in the portal, you can go at any time.
Right. Right. Right.
So
Yeah, I
the
didn't
dad
really
was
think about
like,
that.
the dad was like, we're not going nowhere because the NCAA made us make a rush decision.
Hmm.
He
Well,
gave
that's
the
the problem with
NCAA.
a lot of this shit. That's a problem with a lot of this.
It's a
And
problem with it, man. And you think about us. We have been on the road since the freaking portal opened. 2 days after the portal opened, we have been on the road, and I'm tired as hell. You
I
see what I'm
bet.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It does not it does not do a family well. This right here, they should have a spring portal or something because this is not right for the parents. Think about this. We got to go find an apartment.
Yeah.
We just signed the other day. We had to go get all his stuff out of storage. A lot of stuff has to. I mean, people think it's just a snap finger deal, and it's not.
Mm-mm.
I think Reagan's just got to Mississippi yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a lot of other stuff that has to be done. You don't have time to really visit a school. So that's why a lot of tampering is going to be done next year. I can guarantee you there's going to be a whole lot of tampering going on because kids and the agents don't have time to find a place for the kids.
Right.
So, like I said, and that's stuff we'll talk about on the gauntlet.
Definitely on the gauntlet. And one other thing that we are going to be talking about tonight, and just to kind of preview it, is we're gonna ask the question: is the SEC still the top dog? And I
Oh,
mean,
that's a sore subject for a lot of people, man. But
it is
you
a sore subject, but I think it's something that we have to talk about. It's
have
one
to
of the
talk
things that
about it,
has to be
man.
talked
Have to
about.
talk about it. Well, look, man, this boy buzzed me up, man. Hey, I appreciate everybody, man. Appreciate y'all prayers and thinking about us, man. And I'll be popping on from time to time, Jason, especially when you got a hot topic, man. I come on and give my 2 cents. Plus, we're gonna be doing some stuff together. But to y'all out there, man, hey, go Sooners, man. Still Boomer Sooner, man. That's his first love, always. And it's just one of those things, man, that we had to pivot, and now we Hell State.
That's
Believe
what's up, man.
that.
They'll say ain't nothing wrong with that, man. All love, other than with these guys, it's gonna be all love unless you playing OU. So you know how
Yeah,
that
I know the deal. All right,
goes.
man. I'll holler at y'all, man.
All right, bro. Appreciate you coming in.
All right,
Thanks
bro.
a
No
lot to
problem.
Marcus Dent, Gridiron Insight, and Ole Miss 365. Obviously, excited about what's coming with some of that stuff that we're gonna be doing together. Um, let's see. How does that look? Any better? I'm still working on some of this stuff, man, on what we're gonna look like or whatever on this Rise and Shine stuff. So, but I'm working out of here. But yeah, excited about what's coming with that. Let's see if I'm getting any more of these comments now, man. So I'm gonna have to watch them on this other stream. Yeah. Have a great day. Yeah. All right. Yeah, man. And I guess that's a big question. You're getting a lot of this kind of stuff, and I'll go ahead and talk about it with you guys how I feel about that stuff as far as the SEC and all that's concerned. Um, I think you have to at least acknowledge the fact that at the top of the league right now, the SEC isn't up to par. At the top of the league now. I don't know I think there's a good question to be asked about whether or not the SEC should have went to a 9-game conference schedule in view of the fact that they're because I would tell you this, that when you go, the depth of the league is damn sure better than it is in the Big Ten. You could get beat by a 13-14, number 13, number 14 team, even at the top of the league. You can't. There's a lot of dudes in this league. I mean, just the depth of the talent is just different. Now, I will say that it's obvious that things are changing some, and you're seeing a lot more of that being spread out because of NIL and the portal and all that kind of stuff. I think that's a lot of the reason that fans of Blue Bloods are kind of hurting. That you're used to seeing your teams be the best teams and stuff, and it makes it tough. In the end, I would just say that hopefully we're able to kind of see that change a little bit. Let me see what I got here. I can see it a little better. It all goes in cycles. Yeah. Yeah. What up, Duke? Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Camper looking better, he says. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Excited about your new opportunities. Does this include sideline passes to games? Well, I'll definitely have I don't know about sideline passes exactly how it's going to be, but I'll have credential. I'm definitely going to be working at credential. I was going to do that either way, whether it was just on my end of it or whatever. But that was something that that we were getting ready to do. But yeah, we talked about that. I'll definitely have more credentialed access, which gives you access to press conferences before and after, even if it's in the box. I don't really care where it's at. Sideline's pretty cool. And if you're going to be taking video and photos and stuff like that. But even nowadays, with a lot of that kind of stuff is because they're working with people like Learfield, it makes it kind of hard for you're not allowed to do a whole lot of that because they have access and all the rights to a lot of that stuff. So it makes it tough to do. I'm sure they'll have some access with some of that stuff, but maybe I'll be able to use some of their video. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, though, to be honest with you. That's one of those deals that I was never a photo guy or video guy back in the day. So just as a reporter, most of the time I wasn't on the field. There was a couple of places that you'd be on the field here and there. I actually got to do it at Oklahoma once or twice, but for the most part, you're given press box access, and they have media seating and stuff like that for it. But yeah, it just kind of depends. But yeah, actually, it'll be cool though. I hope that and with having the website that I have now and doing stuff with those guys, I would think they might want to get me that, and I'll use even if you use your own phone or whatever, maybe you have to take a camera. I think that may be part of it, is you have to have an actual camera. I don't think they want you using just your phone or whatever when it all boils down to that stuff. So, but yeah, let's see what else. I'm not used to seeing Texas all that good, so this SEC Big Ten stuff doesn't bother me. I don't know how much I care about it either. I think it's a big deal. I'm not one of those people that's ever going to sit here and yell SEC, SEC. Whenever a game's going on anyway, right? I mean, covering the SEC, obviously, I'll have more access to it, and I already think it's the best conference, and I still think it's the best conference. And I think that what I was getting to on some of that other stuff, I think part of the issue that you're running into is you look at Indiana's schedule. They had two decent teams on their schedule going into the playoffs, and one of them was in the Big 12, Big 10 championship game. They played Oregon in what was it, week 4 or something like that, and then they turned around and didn't have to really play another really good team until the conference championship game. Now, they struggled against Penn State, which wasn't near what they were supposed to be. They lost their coach early in the season. They still had some talent there, but they struggled in that game. They struggled with Minnesota for a while, from what I could tell. But overall, they really didn't have a bunch of games where you're like, oh, wow. I guess Michigan State gave them a game. But truth be told, go look at what those teams' records were. I mean, Minnesota, okay. Penn State, they had a losing record. Minnesota, I think they had a winning record, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember exactly. It wasn't much more than like 7-5, whatever, And they beat that juggernaut in New Mexico in a bowl game. But a lot of that's the kind of other stuff is if we're gonna sit here and talk about bowl games like they matter, and because we know better. Look, when they made a college football playoff, even when it was a 4-team college football playoff, the rest of the bowls didn't mean shit. And in particularly, they didn't mean anything outside of the New Year's 6 games, because those are the games that would have been, the rest of the 12 now, right? We can't, and that's what I was talking about the other day, of this whole going back to to this constant chatter and reinventing or revisionist history that we want to have about the teams that are in. Once they get in, when they lose a game, then now all of a sudden they don't belong in the playoff. They didn't belong in the playoff to begin with. And the people that are saying it are people like BYU fans that are talking about their amazing win in the freaking Oreo Bowl, or the Pop-Tart Bowl, excuse me. And, against Georgia Tech, that didn't make it into the playoff either. Right? Or Utah, which, by the way, we can talk a little bit more about Utah in just a second. But Utah, that, it had 2 losses to the best 2 teams in the Big 12. They go and beat a shitty Nebraska team, and we're supposed to care. Come on. Stop doing that. And that's where, these bowl games, big deal. Big deal. If you look at the overall record of the SEC against the rest of the Power 4 this season, and even including the games in bowl games, then they're still ahead. They were 13-3 in the regular season against Power 4 opponents, was the SEC. 13-3. When it mattered, they were 13-3. So, I mean, it's easy to you can throw out your one little thing and shine a light on it, and don't talk about the rest of the regular season or anything like that. Make the bowl games only matter to people whenever their teams win them. Okay. We're not going to do that on this show. We're not going to do it. Utah's out here throwing, they're throwing a shit fit now over Coach Whittingham. That's one of the things I want to talk about too, is How far have they fallen from the good graces of people? Because I got to tell you, man, in my opinion, you look at this at Utah as back when they first joined the Pac-12, it was like cool for them, good for them. They left the Mountain West, and I don't even know if that was Mountain West when they did it, but they were able to get out of a G5, G6 conference, whatever, and move on to the Pac-12, and they ended up winning Pac-12 championships. They became a real program, a true giant killer type of program. And they had kind of done that in the Mountain West, right? Being able to win games like when Urban was there. Who was it that they beat when Urban was there? Was it Alabama with him there? Or was that Whittingham? I don't know. Anyway, they won a couple of games in those type of environments. Now, one of them I think it was against like Miami, or not Miami, but Hawaii. I think they beat them that one year that they made a New Year's Six game. They played them against each other. I think one was against Boise State, something like that. Fine. You're still, at that time to do that anyway, to make a New Year's Six game is cool, right? That's awesome. In the end, what they did as Pac-12 members was all good as well. And I think everybody looked at them as like good for them. And, that's a feel-good story for college football, that you can kind of become something more than what you were at this late in the game. But once all the stuff started up between the Pac-12 and the Big 12 and who was going to survive and who wasn't, when realignment got started, that's when you knew that these dudes were out of their damn mind. And they have taken all that goodwill and thrown that shit out the door. Completely out the door. Acting like they're holier than thou. And now that Coach Whittingham has taken that job at Michigan, and I believe he was pushed out at Utah. Morgan Scalley, you heard a lot of people talking about it's time for Whit to move on. He's been talking about retirement for a few years. They got ready to where they were, and I think Morgan Scalley was kind of ready to get his opportunity. Fair enough. That's fair. And they tried to push him out prior to last year, prior to this season, and he wasn't going to do it. He wasn't going to leave Utah in the way that they played that last season. That wasn't going to be the way he retired. But when he chose to go ahead and leave and give the job up to Scalley this year, he never said anything about retiring. And now you have them throwing this shit fit because he got a lot of his former assistants, both from Utah and BYU. They're a little pissy at him too because he got Jay Hill, the defensive coordinator from BYU, to follow him to Michigan as well. I don't know why this surprises anybody. And I certainly don't know why now you would take, this is the best coach in the history of Utah football. This is their new Rockney, and they are calling him out and calling him, saying awful things about him everywhere. What did you expect him to do? What would you have had him do? He's built his network of coaches and support staff members over his career. What else would he do? He's just going to go hire a bunch of people he doesn't know? Of course not. Of course not. But this is why everybody hates Utah fans. This is why they got to the Big 12 and immediately the Big 12 was like, buddy, all that truck stop conference crap, all that other shit that they said when the fighting over who was going to make it and who wasn't. I remember, it was pretty clear that the Pac-12 was in trouble. They lied through their teeth about things, said ugly things about Big 12 schools, made it, they looked down their nose over the AAU stuff and all that other crap. It was stupid for a long time. And then they've continued to be bitchy and not good partners for the Big 12 since they arrived. It's wild to me. Completely wild to me. But it's been constant. It's just crazy shit, dude. Wild stuff. Let's see if I can Fix this a little bit still. Okay, better. I think that's a little better. All right. We look at some of these. Yeah, Kyle Whittingham helped put Utah where it is today. I don't understand the push out. I don't either. And it's wild that they, because they did kind of push him out. He wasn't ready to leave and be done with coaching. That's clear. And on top of that, even if you thought you were, and then Michigan comes calling, you kind of have to look at that job, don't you? This is one of the true blue. I mean, you will be able to take your brand of coaching and apply to it the power of a school like Michigan, right? Their recruiting ability, their support staff and stuff. Now, obviously, there's been some crazy stuff, but they needed a guy like Kyle Whittingham who's above reproach when it comes to his, he's proven to be solid dude, right? He's always been a solid guy. You don't hear a sniff or an inkling of anything dirty being done at Utah while he was there. They just didn't. I mean, that's not nothing bad going on. And they desperately, desperately needed that at Michigan. Desperately needed that. With all the shit that's been going on there, I mean, wow. But in the end, you liar. My guns, that's fucking hilarious, dude. But you're lying through your teeth, bro. You know better than that shit. Oh, no. Oh, dude. Let's see. KW helped put it. Yeah, that's where I'm at on it. That's not what I did. I did not do that, Mars, just so you know. Fucking my guns here, bro. Yeah, and in the end, yeah, going back to that stuff as far as the SEC is concerned, I was hoping that the SEC was that Ole Miss would go ahead and go win it, just for the, because I don't, anybody but the Big Ten to me though, anybody but the Big Ten, because I'm sick of hearing their shit. Anybody but the Big Ten, but yeah. So I'm definitely, I mean, it's hard for me to do it, but I got to root for Miami in the championship game on Monday. I don't know that they're going to win. In fact, I don't think that they probably do. But that being said, it is what it is. Yeah, as far as hoops concerned, the SEC's been better the last couple of years, but Big 12 and ACC those are still basketball powers. I don't know. I think it depends on the year. The SEC definitely owns baseball, softball. They dominate those two. When you add in Oklahoma and Texas, especially, but they were already really good at softball. But as far as baseball is concerned, they were already the best conference at that by a lot. Is it just football? I don't know. I think so. I think I'm sticking with just football. To be honest with you, I love basketball and stuff like that, but to take on the kind of thing that it's gonna take a lot of planning and getting out there and selling this show in order for me to be able to fund like a constant trip in the SEC for a season. It's expensive, man. It's expensive, and to be able to do some of that stuff. So, I think at least for now, yeah. At least for now, yeah. And honestly, I could stand to have, even if I was making enough for me to go everywhere in the SEC, it'd be a lot better if I had some support staff of my own, editing and video editing and doing some of that other kind of stuff that, it just helps the channel along on its own. So, yeah, man, I think right now to begin with, at least I'm going to stick with just football, but maybe in the future, maybe at least football in terms of there's going to be. I've got some show ideas that don't just include talking about college football. I mean, it'll have ties to college football, but it won't exactly be just college football. But it's some other stuff. I think, I don't really want to give it away because I don't want to give it away. But I've got some show ideas that I'm definitely working towards, and I've already been kind of working towards that show. But I think the more I get out on the road and do some of this other stuff, or once we get it started with this deal, if we're able to sell it, because Ole Miss 365, they're going to try to sell it there as part of that channel to their sponsors that they have. So that's one of the things that they're working towards as well. But which will be great. But I need to kind of sell it around to different places, and that may not happen until we start getting close to next season, right? Maybe SEC Media Days, stuff like that, which I'm excited about going to that for sure. But in college football is absolutely a year-round. You're right, Benji, completely year-round as it gets. Football pays the bills. It does. That was the problem with Ole Miss was that, yeah, I was hoping that they would win, and they're fantastic offensively. They were fantastic, but they weren't very good on defense, and so it was tough. Now they ran the ball, and I think if they could have just stopped somebody enough to, if they'd have had a middle of the road defense, then I think maybe they had a pretty good shot at it. I mean, they made the semifinal. They had a shot. They just needed to be a little better, but they ran out of time against Miami. They just ran out of time because I think they wore them down well enough to be able to win. Because Miami's defense, that's where I feel like it's tough for Miami to beat Indiana, because Indiana, we'll see if they can hold up and if they can wear them down, if Miami can wear Indiana down. Because I think that Indiana could wear Miami down if they're able to run the football and continue putting pressure on them, scoring points. I don't think it's going to be as easy as what it's been, though. I think that Miami has the type of team that matches up pretty well. No doubt. Rushing 3, dropping 8, shaking my down. Yeah, I'm with you, bro, on that one. I felt like they needed to send some pressure and make Carson, throw under pressure and stuff whenever they did. Because he really didn't have any pressure. OU needs a new basketball arena. I hadn't really kept up with that a lot. I know that that's something that's still going on with the city of Norman. That they're making a thing of it. It's still making it hard. I don't know if that's going to work out or not. It feels like it's supposed to come together at some point, but I know that they've struggled with it. It's just pretty wild. You miss Billy Tubbs' ball? Damn, that's a long time ago, brother. But they were damn good. Hell, I miss when they had Kelvin Sampson. They were badasses then too. Kelvin Sampson was he was a stud, man. That recruiting stuff was kind of crappy, though. Oh, you need to find a new AD before all of you sports suck. I think they're going to find one. I mean, but the thing is this new AD, I don't think they're going to have a lot to do with whatever's going on in football at all. I think it's going to be all related to the rest of the sports. That's the way it's been explained. I know they haven't said it really publicly because I don't think they care what anybody knows and doesn't know. But I think that because of the NFL structuring of the football program, the athletic director doesn't really do much. So I know that Joe C is always going to, Joe C was always going to have whatever power he had, as far as that goes. But I think it was pretty clear that he was kind of being aged out of it once Randall Stevens got there, and then Jim Nagy and stuff like that. So I think it was one of those deals where it's just the modern way of college football. If you're going to go about it the way that Oklahoma is, which is using an NFL model of doing things, the front office, the scouting staff, all that other kind of stuff, then you have to, the AD would. It's more than the AD can do by himself. It's not for him. It's not the same thing. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't really see Bob Stoops. Bob Stoops said he talked about that he wanted nothing to do with it. Oh, I hadn't even noticed that. Gentry going to Georgia, huh? I hate it. I hate it. That fucking sucks. I mean, you know what? To be honest with you, like I say about every player that comes from Oklahoma. I wish him well. I hope we're able to burn him a little bit whenever Oklahoma goes to Athens. As a fan, but I mean, I'll be honest with you. What we were talking about, and he didn't go as far as I think he could have when it comes to that medical program and the medical staff and the differences, and honestly, Schmitty as well. I think that a lot of people could have a lot of things to say about Schmitty right now, and there's a reason why he's probably retiring coming up. A lot of these, you had a lot of soft tissue injuries going on this year, but they had a lot of misdiagnoses over the last few years on that medical staff. I know for sure that Gentry had the injury that kept him out for 2 years was the same injury as the year one. They did surgery. They did surgery apparently on not on the right thing. That's why it healed up, and as soon as he got it hit again, he was out for the next year. Then this year, I think it was a whole different deal. That it was a different shoulder, different whatever it was. I don't even know what the injury is, to be honest with you. This one, but it isn't the same. But I mean, that's a problem. It's a problem when Nick Anderson has a torn muscle in his damn thigh and has to go get an MRI on his own because the staff didn't want to do it. It's a problem when Makari Vickers, I think he had a torn pectoral muscle or something like that, and they didn't catch it. They missed it at OU. They fixed it when he got to Colorado. I mean, and the list goes on. I mean, Teddy and Gabe talked about this stuff last year after Nick left. And supposedly they were making some sweeping changes that were never made yet. That needs to get done because these are the kind of things that go around everywhere else. And I mean, and gets used as negative recruiting. And I mean, can you even argue about it at that point? We can sit here and say, oh, no, that's not going on, but it is going on. Eventually, it hurts your program irreparably, beyond repair. Or at least it takes an awful long time to repair that. They've got to get, and here's the thing. I know for sure that a lot of that medical team, they're the same medical team as what they have at Oklahoma State. I can tell you that Cody Light and I had discussions about this last year, and he was like, oh, it's the same shit here. Same thing. I mean, that's not a good look. And for why we've dragged our feet on making that change is beyond me. Beyond me. Crazy stuff. Ronnie Wheat. People need to treat players transferring like when someone at work finds a new job. Wish them well. and thank them for their service. They can come back and no chance if they're treated poorly. Yeah, that's the problem too. Is that you have this, and make no mistake, it's a small group of fans that are idiots, right? It's a small group, but they're the loudest. Those fans are the loud ones in the fan base. And it's a problem, man. It's a fucking problem. No matter how you look at it. Because a lot of these guys will go on Twitter not just say shit to them on their posts about leaving or whatever there. They'll go into their DMs and say shit. Which, if you're a player, if you're an athlete and you leave your DMs open for anybody, that's not a wise decision, right? Not a wise decision. Shouldn't do that to yourself. But that being said, I mean, this constant, where we're just destroying these guys on their way out or whatever, I mean, it's not a good look, man. It's just not a good look. And it's not a good look for guys that you're recruiting now to see that shit. And some of those guys just don't get it. They don't see it. They don't give a fuck. They're going to continue being that way. And I don't never understood that. I think it's retarded. I think it's a bad look, man. Why you would get in a player's DMs is weird to me to begin with. It's one of those, it's just odd. And it only gets louder the worse your team gets? No shit. Yeah, the city of Norman has been Dikembe Mutomboing the hell out of the new arena. OU has to get a new and better medical team for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Dude, I've been trying to get a hold of Cody Light for the last couple of days and have not been able to get a hold of him. I'm glad you just asked. I'm going to try to get a hold of him again as soon as I get off of here. He hadn't answered the phone, and I haven't even gotten a text back. He texted me back last week, said that he was still alive, but that wasn't exactly all I wanted to hear from him. So, I'm praying that he's okay, but I've got to. He's still not on his show. He's still not on his show, so something isn't good. And if he's not answering me, it concerns me, man. So please continue to pray for Cody Light with these blood clots, man. It's a scary thing. It's a scary thing. Hey, you could always make a show called DM Hunters where you hunt down the ass clowns who get in the players' DMs. Hey, man, that's a great idea. I know there's ways that like real computer hacker type dudes or that, security guys can find people like that. And I know that they've found some certain people that have done some weird shit on Twitter in the past. I don't know how to do any of that. But definitely, if we could find somebody like that, would be fun to go to their work and call them out or something. That would be good. I like it. I like that idea. Good shit, Zofik. What happened to Cody? He's got blood clots that started forming. He's lost his legs over them already. He was injured in the military back in the day, and I mean, I don't know what that injury, how much that had to do with the blood clots or whatever. I know that the military, it was really rough on him about giving him the disability and stuff for the longest time. So I don't know. But it's dangerous, man. And when he went into the hospital 2 days before Christmas, I mean, it would have killed him if he hadn't gone in when he did. But they left there was at least one really large blood clot. Or no, it was multiple large blood clots that were still in his chest when he left. So, what we did, what we were putting out the GoFundMe for was for the medicine that's supposed to help him with the blood clots, right? That keeps him alive. I guess the VA gives him all the pain meds, They'll do that for you. They're always good about that. But they wouldn't supply the blood thinners or whatever that it is that keeps him alive. So that was the main thing that they were raising the money for. I've said that, the money that he makes off he's not making that money on the show right now. Or at least not that I know of. His wife has had to spend time out of work as well. I mean, I'd love it if they would bump up that GoFundMe. But I'm concerned. I'm definitely concerned. Conversation I told you. Stars are a reflection of the camps their families can afford. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, as far as Indiana's concerned, yeah, I think obviously their average age is 23, right? They've got guys that are older than that. They got the average age of 23, and the Packers is like the average age of 25. You know, look, I was just scary. My sister had cancer. She actually passed away from blood clots. Definitely not something to take lightly. No, and they haven't been in, but it's something that he wasn't able to really like. It costs a lot of money. Those pills, just those blood thinners that like what he needs on a yearly basis. I mean, on top of whatever his insurance pays, I think it was another $4,000 or some shit like that. Something crazy. I mean, it's wild. On top of that, right? So, and again, like the VA, they'll give you the pain medicine for the year, but pain because there's pain that's associated with these clots apparently. But like I said, he lost his legs. He's lost both legs because of these blood clots. And here he is. I mean, he's still working. He doesn't get disability to the point that he shouldn't have to work at all. But he does. And obviously he loves what he's doing as far as, covering Oklahoma State and being around football and all that stuff. And I'm sorry for your loss there too, Brandon. Prayers for Cody, man. That sucks, bro. It sucks. Thanks, Coach Top. Mm-hmm. Did he take the jab? I don't think so. Sweetness. I'm pretty sure he was like, no to that. Unless he like had to because of whatever I don't know. It's a good question. I didn't ask him that. But I know that was one of the things that, now that you say that, I remember that being one of those side effects. Hmm. Damn. Cherokee, I understand. I understand what you guys are saying about that. If this, the thing about it is I don't think it's as much about another coordinator, and you guys know what I think about Arbuckle at this point. But I think Arbuckle's young enough, and he's not the head coach. As the head coach, if you're not willing to step up and like make sure that he does what you want done for your football team, then are you really being the head coach? Right? That's where we're at on it. As far as I'm concerned, that's kind of how I feel about it. But anyway, man, you guys got me thinking about Cody Light and wanting to get a hold of him and stuff. So I'm sorry to hear about that, Brandon Snake. Really am. It's yeah, those blood meds are not cheap. If I don't have insurance, it'd be $2,000 a month. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Those are son of a bitch. So he's somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 to $5,000 a year. So his insurance at least pays for some of it. But that's still $4,000 or $5,000 a year when he's only making some, working for. I mean, they don't pay him much at Locked On. They don't. It all depends on how much views they're getting, and really, the views aren't as even a big a part of it. They pay them off of how many listens you get, because Locked On's an audio podcast network. And so, yeah, they're on YouTube, and I think that they're starting to like add to that or whatever, you know. But I know that it was all about how many advertisements they can get through that show, right? And those guys keep their jobs based on that. Now, he was obviously doing a good job to the point that he's, you know, he made it through a couple of times that I know of them firing a bunch of people. But I don't know, man. I know he was never making that much money though. Never. The last time I had heard that I thought it was anything even like, it was under $1,000 in a month. So but that's been a while. Just so we know, that's been a while. Not enough. Medications are a racket, way too overpriced. Hope Trump comes through with the promise of getting generics for much cheaper. Yeah, that's something that, you know, we're talking about. People have been talking about Mark Cuban a lot. That's his business. That new business model that has been doing so well for him has been that. Getting these needed medications to people that need to have them at a rate that makes sense. You know? Ugh. Yeah, man. Shit. All right, guys. I'm gonna we'll go ahead and call it today. I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of Cody. I'm a little worried now. But yeah, keep him in your prayers and stuff like that. And obviously I got some other stuff I gotta get done too, but today as well. But I need to get started on some of this other stuff. Show prep for that other one that we're gonna record it tonight. Should be out tomorrow. Tomorrow. Maybe the latest Friday. So we'll definitely get it out though. But yeah, I appreciate everybody coming in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. And again, yeah, prayers up for Cody, and we're hoping everything. I'm worried about him because I'm not hearing anything back from him. And that was 2 days ago since I called and texted, and I've got nothing. So that's concerning to me. That's concerning. But anyway, appreciate Marcus Dent coming on. Make sure you guys get over to the Gridiron Insight, subscribe to that channel. Go check out Ole Miss 365, and you know, they've got a lot of podcast shows, different shows that they've got starting there. Obviously, it's a lot of Ole Miss content, but that's where we'll be home. I mean, the show that we're doing together, it'll still be on this channel. You don't have to do anything new to watch it, but hopefully it does really well over there as well, because that's, you know, where it's at. But I appreciate everybody, all the support you guys give me, and watching the show. Shout out to Isaiah Dent. I mean, excited about him and his ability and his chances there with Big Phil at Mississippi State. You know, obviously with Kamario Taylor, you gotta get big boys to protect him, and he's a stud quarterback. I think that this is it's a big move. It's a good move for Leb to be trying to pull as many of those guys as possible. Kittle Dobie obviously over there as well. Zion Reagan's excited for those guys. You know, like I said, it's kind of becoming Oklahoma South. But shout out to all those dudes, and wishing them all the best as well. But thanks a lot, everybody, for coming in. We'll see you all on the next one.